Something. April Fools. Something funny. Wee. News, glorious news. We're anxious to hear it. It's Monday. It's April Fools. And it's time to take a look at the tabletop role-playing game news stories that are going to be shaping our week. Let's unfold our maps. Let's take out our tee-hee sextants and track that Earth-destroying April solar eclipse and take a look at all the news stories. Now, of course, today being April 1st, some of these news stories might be made up. But most of them are true. And of course, the best April Fool's joke for April Fools is once again Hasbro proving they are their own worst enemy. I mean, the daily news that comes out of the brain trust that is Hasbro far beats any April Fool's joke I could come up with, even when I'm feeling 100%. But I've got having a horrible allergy attack, and I'm slightly stoned on allergy medicine, and I still can't come up with an April Fool's joke as good as the truth that comes out from Wizards of the Coast. So let's take a look at the two big stories from Wizards of the Coast right away before we get to the most important story of the day. So if you haven't been paying attention, Wizards of the Coast got themselves in trouble again for plagiarism. That's a bad one. So apparently a Magic the Gathering artist noticed that there was some art in a card for the latest Magic set, which apparently takes place in Paris or Pears or whatever. It's another one of their cyberpunk modern day Magic the Gathering sets that makes no frickin' set. The piece of art in question is this one. It's called Trouble in Pairs. And apparently the artist who is being accused by fellow artists for the thing, and that it is criminal copyright infringement. So the general layout of the picture is supposedly a direct copy of the other artist's work. And all the current artist did was change a few things. And secondly, apparently, this right here, this face, and this very specific look of this face is a direct copy from something else. I don't know if it says. Oh, yes, this is from a magazine cover. This is from a magazine cover by Will Husley. So there have been at least 3 artists who have been stolen from, not AI, but between the Magic set in general and this card in particular. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go directly to jail. Oh, it's another spam word thing. Hold on. Let's answer it because it's a great way to start the day. Hello? Yes, I'm on the other line right now. Can I call you back? Oh, sure, no problem. What's your number, please? Thank you for calling. I'll call you right back. Okay. Bye. It was not a scam call. It was a doctor's appointment. So, yes. Oh, yeah. Direct ripoff from a magazine. So not only have they gotten in trouble for AI art and Magic the Gathering cards, now they're getting in trouble for stealing other people's art from the Magic the Gathering cards. Now, because I don't want to be 100% anti-Wizards of the Coast, I will say that Magic the Gathering artists at Wizards of the Coast get paid far better than most of the other independent artists out there who make this kind of product. They're generally very generous in the forms of their payment to their artists. So we'll give them that. And, when dealing with Wizards of the Coast, any artist at this point in time should be doubly sure before going into bed with them, because the offer of the money is nice, but it's also Wizards of the Coast / Hasbro, and once that artwork / product gets into that compometer of there, their new Skynet AI. Well, accidents happen. Oh no, you copied somebody else's art. Now you might be saying, but OGGM, haven't you said 10,000 times in the past? The whole thing is that once Wizards gobbles up your IP and your product, it's theirs to do with what they please. Yes, in relation to Dungeons and Dragons product, if you sign that contract and give them things, they can gobble it up and do what they please with it, and, including borrowing from the art. But the Magic the Gathering art deal is different enough that these individuals can take them to court for plagiarism, and this could be a case that Wizards of the Coast loses, though they'll probably settle out of court. But yeah, but it's just another nail in the coffin. And of course, the artist has been suspended from Wizards and will have extreme difficulty ever working in the industry again. Yeah, all because they couldn't obey the very simple rules of plagiarism, which are, i.e., don't copy other people's shit, or if you have, if you're using something else as a basis for inspiration, say, I'm copying Vincent van Gogh's style, but I'm not copying Vincent van Gogh's work. 3 points of difference, or actually it's 5 points of difference now. I think, the face is a direct ripoff of this other face. There's no question. Was it unconsciously in their brain when they painted it, or did they have like the thing going here? I mean, the defendant can say, I didn't know. I mean, it wibbly wobbly legal shit that I'm not smart enough to discuss. I would suggest going over to Tabletop Tap Room. Tom just did a whole video on this. And speaking of the continued Wizards of the Coast, don't you have any news that isn't Wizards of the Coast? OGGM, why can't you take that compass of yours and direct us to something else? Well, let me just see how many Wizards of the Coast related stories we have today. 1, 2, 3 Hasbro Wizards of the Coast stories. 4, 5, 6. 6 news stories that are directly or indirectly related to Hasbro Wizards of the Coast. Why not other companies? Why is it I never talk about Chaosium or Villains of Vigilantes? Why is it always just doom and gloom and Wizards of the Coast Hasbro? Blah, blah, blah. Well, there's 2 reasons, boys and girls. Reason number 1 is because Wizards of the Coast is always in the news when it comes to our hobby. It usually is the number 1 story almost every week, and it hardly ever is anything good. And second, probably because all the other companies are far smarter than Wizards of the Coast. As I say time and time again, at this point in the history of the tabletop role-playing game universe, literally all you have to do to be successful is look at everything Wizards of the Coast is doing, Hasbro's doing, and not do that. Do the opposite. Hey, they're using AI. We won't. Hey, they're gobbling up other people's product and not telling them. We'll let people know what we're doing. Hey, they treat their employees like shit. Hey, we'll be nice to our employees. Yeah, just do the opposite, guys. Speaking of things Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro said they'd never do and then proceeded to do, right as you remember, last week, we talked about how Wizards and Laren have come to a parting of ways. Of Laren Videos, creator of Baldur's Gate 3, have sworn they will never work on Baldur's Gate 4. Once they finish the DLC that they're working on now, that's it for Baldur's Gate 3. They want to move on and work on other products that allow them to stretch their imagination and, of course, more importantly, give them free and full control of whatever they create going forward. Well, within 48 hours of that, Wizards announced that, hey, following the success of our game, Baldur's Gate 3, we've signed a deal with a brand new video game company to make another new video game. Yeah, but that's not all, because remember the whole thing about them swearing they would never use AI to make art or create content? And then them turn around and saying, oh, yeah, we're so fucking going to use AI to make art and content. Well, to follow through, the current CEO, Chris Cook, has gone to expound upon his plans on AI, where they're going to try and do an AI product experiment now once every 2 or 3 months. Very game focused. Now, I don't know what that means, but there will be AI generated content, AI generated publicity, AI generated dialogue. Whatever these products are going to be, they're going to be all AI. And for people who are saying the AI art thing, no, there's probably going to be some AI art in there. Even though them saying you're not. But they're definitely going to be milking the OGL and trying to find loopholes so they can database their OGL content, the vast collection of D&D shit that they have access to, and then allow the AI to just sift through it and come up with brand new products. And to give us an example of what they're coming up with, they just released on D&D Beyond the brand new Hidden Descent to the Lost Caverns of Tasso Jonath, based upon on the 5e version of Tasso Jonath that will be in Quest for the Infinite Staircase. I'd include the link, but it's not a PDF. You got to go to 5e, log on to the D&D Beyond, and then you will have a link that leads to the version of Descent into the Lost Caverns of Tasso Jonath, which is only the first 15 rooms that have been 5e-ified, and it's not a PDF. If you want a copy of it, you're literally going to have to scroll down the entire thing and copy it, paste it into a document, and then edit it before you could take it with you. Otherwise, you're going to have to go on to D&D Beyond if you want to use it, and it's only the first 15 rooms. And yes, it has been 5e-ified, so there are a lot of changes. And if you're familiar with Lost Caverns of Tasso Jonath, this is only Lost Caverns of Tasso Jonath in recognition, not in actual, But things are all not rosy for Wizards this year, because as we know, we have the quarterly fiscal year report as from ICV2. Of course, this is ICV2, so take these like they don't really mean much of anything. We'll know the full quarterly effect in I believe the second week of April, or the third week of April is when Q1 is done. So we will actually have the real numbers sometime this month. But according to ICV2, we had a tabletop role-playing game plethora of games that weren't D&D see a modicum of success. On the other hand, D&D sales are down 30% yet again. This following up on the $1 billion, $1 billion, Mr. Powers, $1 billion loss Hasbro reported between December, January, and February. They somehow lost $1 billion in 3 months. That's unheard of. They owe the shareholders $1 billion. But don't worry, because they've promised the shareholders that they're going to make back at least $3 million by the end of this year. Well, I don't want $3 million. I want my billion back. You lost me $1 billion. Giving me back $3 million doesn't make up for the loss. All right. So that's all the Wizards of the Coast news. Do we have any news from any other gaming companies to just set our course with? Well, there is one piece of good news, and I was saving this for last because it's just so amazing. I couldn't believe when I saw this morning. This is quite possibly the most amazing bit of Kickstarter news I have ever seen. And I mean, this is just amazing. Our friends over at Black Lodge Games have somehow managed, I don't know how they pulled this off. They have managed to get an IP that I never thought somebody would get their hands on. So this is just amazing. And they've been talking about this for weeks. They can finally announce today what that IP is. And if you are a fan of the Old West, of Westerns, of the history of that amazing film genre, then we all have a love for one certain IP, one certain chunk of that genre that is just so memorable. The music, the settings, the character, it redefined the genre. And it's just one of those things where nobody's ever going to get the rights to that. Sure, they can make games inspired by it. We hear a lot of people, oh, this game is inspired by, but Black Lodge Games has done it. Yes. So let's just watch the announcement. This is amazing.
Contacted to make a licensed RPG product. And today we are proud to announce what that finally is. Black Lodge Games is excited to announce that we are working on our very first full RPG. In association with CBS and Black Entertainment Television, BLG is the official developer of the grittiest Western RPG from the most famous Western setting of all time, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Yes, that's right. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Oh my God, I'm so excited. The single best, grittiest, bloodiest, violent, most historically accurate Western ever made is being converted to a role-playing game by none other than Black Lodge Games. Wow! You're excited. I'm excited. You're excited. And oh my God, just you need to watch this video. It is just wow. Just wow. Oh, Dr. Quinn. Oh, you thought I was talking about Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Fistful of Dollars, and for a few dollars more? No. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman? God, yes, of course. April Fools.